Hi, Steve Woodruff here. In this session, we're going to focus on our sixth job responsibility, the sixth step of our six-step marketing plan. And let's all remember that these 6 steps assure the seller a successful sale, where they get to the closing on time, on their time schedule. They experience a worry-free, smooth transaction with the fewest amount of problems, and when they arrive at the closing, they get the most money the market will allow. So it's not a matter of just getting the property sold, but having them experience a successful sale. Now, this sixth job responsibility, the sixth step of our six-step marketing plan, is the most important of all 6. It's where we fulfill the role of being the seller's trusted advisor. Why is this so important? Well, it's not just important to the seller, but it's also very important to the agent. Why is that so? Well, there's this gentleman named Michael Gerber. He wrote the book, The E-Myth. A lot of great stuff in here, but here's the one quote I want to pull out of it. And Michael's talking about the sales business. Here's the quote. He says that it's not what you sell that makes you different, it's how you go about selling it. Let me repeat that. In the sales business, it's not what you sell that makes you different, but how you go about selling it. What he's saying is that it's your approach that makes you different in the marketplace. Let's think about it. In the real estate business, we all pretty much sell the same stuff. So what makes us different? It's our approach of how we sell. And that's why it's so important to be a trusted advisor, because it will change our approach. It will differentiate ourselves. It will distinguish ourselves from the vast majority of agents. Let me explain further. Most agents conduct their business as salespeople. They go to training to learn how to sell. They learn the ABCs of selling, always be closing. When they go on a listing appointment as a salesperson, their focus, their purpose is to get the listing, to sell themselves, to get hired. And they're thinking about their commission check. Psychology 101 tells us this, that attitudes create behavior styles. Attitudes create behavior styles. When a salesperson goes out, an agent as a salesperson goes on a listing appointment to get the listing, to sell themselves, to get hired, thinking about their commission, it's a self-serving attitude. They're thinking about themselves, and that creates an aggressive behavior. And if you've forgotten what aggressive behavior feels like from a customer seat, from a salesperson, go to a new car dealership. Walk in the showroom and see how that salesperson makes you feel. Are they there looking out for your best interests? Or are they there just to sell you something and make a quick commission buck? So how we approach our business will distinguish us. So being a trusted advisor is not just labeling. It's not just semantics. It's not some words that we put on a business card or a marketing brochure. It's our approach. It's how we conduct ourselves. It's our business behavior at the point of contact. As a trusted advisor, when we go on this job interview, our focus is not to get the listing, not to sell, close, pressure, and think about our commission check, but rather focus on the client, putting their best interest first. And the way we do that as a trusted advisor, our whole purpose is to help our client make good decisions. That's right, help them make good decisions. If we help them make good decisions, they'll get what they want, and most times they'll help us get what we want. When we help them make good decisions, they realize that we care about them. And let's remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So your focus is not on your commission check getting a listing, but on the welfare and the best interests of the seller. They sense that. They feel that. Now, as a trusted advisor, in order to help them make good decisions, you have to find out what they know and what they don't know and fill in the information gaps. Now, how do you do that? Well, a trusted advisor is a good questioner, meaning they ask the right questions. Zig Ziglar says that 80% of all selling is asking the right questions at the right time. So a trusted advisor asks the right questions. Oh, not probing questions, but caring questions. Because what they do is they find out what's going on in that seller's life so they can solve the problem and help them make good decisions. Now, Let's look at the word trusted advisor. There's actually two words there. So let's look at the word trusted. The word trusted means that you can give the other person assurance and confidence that they can rely on you to be honest, ethical, be a straight talker, always tell the truth, and conduct your business with the highest degree of integrity. Trust. It is the foundation of any relationship. Now let's look at the word advisor. What does that mean? Well, advisors don't tell people what to do. Matter of fact, most of us don't like to be told what to do. You don't like to be told. Your kids don't like to be told. Your grandkids, your significant other, sellers don't like to be told. Matter of fact, when you tell people what to do, you're actually kind of pointing at them. My mom always told me as a kid, she said, don't point, it's impolite. So advisors don't point. They don't tell people. What they do is they educate people. They're teachers. They're educators. They fill in the information gaps so this client can make good decisions. So they're great teachers, and they educate people through an education process. Trusted advisor. So that's what's in it for the agent. It will change your behavior style. It will change your approach. It will differentiate you in the marketplace. It's a more professional way of conducting business. It's a simpler way of doing business. And it's where you open a relationship with the client rather than sell them and close them. So that's what's in it for the agent. Now, what's in it for the seller? Well, this is where I like to model the dialogue we would use on this job interview. See, you can't just walk the talk. You got to talk the walk. Meaning, you have to be able to showcase in words what makes your approach different from the average agent. So this is where I like to model the dialogue that we would use on this job interview, so the seller can see what's in it for them when they hire a trusted advisor. Now, let's assume we're on this job interview. We've already discussed and covered with the seller our first job responsibility. We explained to the seller that once the seller hires us, our first job responsibility is to teach and show a seller how to enhance the buyer appeal and the value of their property, how to stage it, how to package for a profit so it sells for more money. We've also covered our second job responsibility, explained to the seller that our second job is help the seller select the very best list price so they don't underprice it and give some of their savings away. And just as importantly, they don't overprice it and scare the buyers away and lose that valuable golden time. We've also explained to them that we use a market study, which is far more extensive than a typical market analysis. We've also discussed our third job responsibility, explaining that our job is to be the master marketer, giving the seller's property total market exposure from being globally online down to the classic lawn sign, using that coordinated three-pronged marketing approach: global, national, local, creating more buyer flow so the property sells for more money. We've discussed our fourth job responsibility, explaining that our job is to create a transaction that is worry-free, where we manage the details with a transaction management system. We have weekly communication to eliminate any issues from getting out of hand, and we have a standard callback policy, eliminating the hassle and the stress. And we also discussed our fifth job responsibility, bringing a quality company with us, assuring the seller the highest quality of service. A company that embraces and lives the values and high standards of honesty, integrity, always doing the right thing. A company that endorses the philosophy of putting the customer first and going always a step beyond. A company that's innovative, ahead of the curve on technology, and uses that technology to create success for the client. A company that's full service, has all the services available, so if the client needs it, it's at their fingertips and we make it easier for them. And also a company that has market success, and that market success translates to the seller's seat. So we've talked about our 5 job responsibilities, and now that leads us into our 6th and most important job responsibility. Well, Mr. Marcello, that leads me to my 6th and final job responsibility. It's my most important. It's where I fulfill the role of being the seller's trusted advisor. It's where I provide professional representation, help them make good decisions, and always promote and protect their best interests. It's also where I take a time to take a step back and help a seller become aware that there are two different types of agents in our business. And it's important that they have this awareness so they can make a good hiring decision. Let me explain. The first type are agents who play the number game. That's right, it's called the number game. What they do is they take as many listings as possible. Once they get the listing, they put up the sign, put it in the MLS, put it on the internet, and they sit back and wait for good things to happen. See, they know that if they get enough number of listings, that some of them will sell and they'll earn a living. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is how they secure these listings. They actually come into a seller's house and tell the seller their house is worth more than it really is. They'll inflate the value because they know by human nature the seller will hire them because they think they're going to get more money. The other thing they do to entice the seller is that they actually shave or cut their commission. But they never explain to the seller that cutting or shaving that commission can actually hinder the sale of the seller's property. They never tell them there. See, they're there to get the numbers and play the game. Well, when I go to work for the seller, I never play that number game. I see my role to be the seller's trusted advisor, to provide professional representation, help them make good decisions, and always look out and protect their best interests. Let's talk about professional representation. Obviously, when a seller puts their house on the market, they want to secure a buyer. When that buyer comes in a form of an offer, that buyer is represented by an agent. It's a buyer agent. They're looking out for the best interests of that buyer. That's where I protect the seller as a professional agent. And what I do is I protect them in respect to I keep everything confidential between myself and the seller. It's also where I negotiate on the seller's behalf. And this is critical because many times this is where the sale begins or ends. And if the agent doesn't know how to negotiate, they can alienate the buyer or weaken the position of the seller. So my job is to protect that seller's best interest. It's also where I advise and counsel the seller to all the options available. It's not so much me telling them what to do, but more importantly, pulling the curtain back, eliminating the smoke and mirrors, giving them all the different options, and giving them all the appropriate information so they can make sound business decisions, good decisions that are best for them. And then finally, I give them assurance and confidence that they can rely on me, that I'll be honest, truthful, ethical, and I'll conduct my business with the highest degree of integrity. So what does this mean to the seller when they hire an agent such as myself as a trusted advisor? It means that they have someone who cares about their best interests. It means someone who has the ability to help them make good decisions, and also someone who is skillful enough to bring the parties together. And finally, someone who protects and promotes their best interests. Now, I take it one step further. What I do is I take all the things I've outlined here today, and I put it in what I call a seller's service pledge. It's where I pledge in writing that I fulfill all these commitments, and if I don't, the seller can fire me. So what does this all mean to the seller? It means the seller will experience a successful sale, where they'll get to the closing on time, on their time schedule. They'll experience a worry-free transaction with the fewest amount of problems, and when they arrive at that closing, they'll get the most money the market will allow. So what have we done in this session? We focused on our sixth job responsibility, fulfilling the role of being the trusted advisor. First, we talked about why it's important to you as an agent, because it will change your approach. Remember what Gerber said, it's not what you sell that makes you different, it's how you go about selling it. So being a trusted advisor, as I said earlier, it's not just labeling, it's not just semantics, it's just not language on a business card or a marketing brochure. It's our business behavior. And our focus is to help our clients make good decisions. So it will change the way we conduct our business. We won't go out there with a self-serving attitude and aggressive behavior, but our behavior will be assertive, professional, walking with confidence. The second is that we model the dialogue, the words that we use. As I said, not only do you have to walk the talk, but you got to be able to talk the walk. So, if any of this makes sense, we have a problem, and this is the problem. There are two pains in life. One is long, soft, warm, and fuzzy. It's called failure. The other one is short. It's sharp. It hurts like the dickens. It's called self-discipline. And self-discipline is changing your behavior, making certain you do conduct yourself as a trusted advisor. In addition, learning the words so you can talk the walk, so you can communicate and showcase in the words that you use on this job interview, succinctly, clearly, in a conversational mode. If you're one of those exceptional people and have that discipline, good things will happen. People will gravitate to you. Those sellers will become your ambassadors. You'll build your referral base because of how you treated them, how you respected them, and how you represented them and put their best interests first. And let's remember, our job is to help our clients make good decisions. And if we do that effectively, they will experience that successful sale. On time, fewest problems, most money. So I wish you continued success. We'll see you next time.